world, I am back. It's been a bit of a longer break than I anticipated. I've just been so busy. Anyway, today I'm doing a test piece for a seascape, and I wanted to go through my colours. This seascape is going to be quite large, and it's going to be hanging in a local restaurant by the sea, so hence a seascape. So this is my inspirational picture here. In fact, I took quite a lot of pictures. It's a really windy day, but I just love the muted colours of this, and I probably will put some grass work in the foreground. So it's a combination of a couple of pictures that I've taken. It's a really good way to work. Take your own pictures, take your own reference pictures. Then, you know, you're not copying anybody else. So you're using your own inspiration. So these are the colours that I have chosen, and I want to go through how I'm going to desaturate them. So I always love putting colour shift paint in seascapes, and this one is Dragon Flash by Folk Art. Just when the light catches them, it's just beautiful. So there's that one. I've chosen two greens that are as close as I've got to the green and the sea, although I will be desaturating both of these with a little bit of complementary colour red. So we'll go through that shortly. My sky, there's very few colours in the sky, the bases of which I am going to start off with sky blue light. Now, I'm just thinking, I could equally start off with greyish blue Amsterdam, but I think I'd have more work on my hands to get that to the colour that I want compared to this. This has very purpley hue, whereas this is cooler. So we're going to go with this one. And that will be desaturated with complementary colour orange. Might have a bit of work getting to the colour that I want with those, with black as well. Sand, I'm going to start off with some yellow ochre. Again, it's nowhere near the colour of the sand, but if I combine some 352 and desaturate these colours with violet oxide, then I think I have a good chance of getting close to the muted colours that I want. And this is the way that I do tend to work with all of my paintings. Perhaps with the exception of the pearl pours. I don't tend to mess around with craft paints, because I want them to work their magic, in that they are a light density paints which come to the surface if you flood them with a heavy density paint, i.e. Amsterdam black or white. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Okay, here I have all my paints in their raw form. So I haven't done anything with them. I've literally made them up as per my normal pouring medium, which is in the description below. Just last minute, I've added some Van Dyke Brown, because I think these two together and a little bit of gold will give me what I want. Now, just grab my colour wheel. When we make YouTube videos, we don't want to be, I don't want to be repeating the same thing over and over again every single video, because it's just boring. But occasionally I will go into more detail. If I'm asked a lot, if I get emails on the same subject, I will try and answer. It's just started to absolutely pour down. So if you hear the rain, I'll try and shout above it. So anyway, where was I? Okay. We have their paints in their raw form, okay? I have my colour wheel here. Now to desaturate a colour, which means in a landscape painting, seascape, landscape, whatever you want to do. Now it's hailing. Whatever you want to do, it's put me off. Oh. Whatever you want to do, it's important that you have a good stab at matching your colours, otherwise you're not going to get any depth, you're not going to get any foreground detail punching out at you, you're not going to recede the background in the distance, you're going to get no depth because you're just using the same colour in the background and the foreground. So what you need to do is desaturate your colours, and it's easy to do because you just use your complementary colour on the colour wheel, i.e. if I want to desaturate blue, I would use orange. And incidentally, these golden paints, I have a couple, but I don't have red. And I use them for this purpose and this purpose only. So green, I would desaturate it with red. So I've just made up a little bit of red. And the gold yellow ochre, I would use violet. This is violet oxide. So I'm going to show you how I do that, but from now on in it becomes very intuitive. A lot of people ask me, can you tell me precisely what you did? And no, you've got to get away and figure it out for yourself and get what you like. Anyway, enough waffling. Okay, I'm going to start off with my sky colours. Now, I haven't added any water to these, and they've thickened up, so I'm going to be doing a consistency test before I do my painting and thin them down to my preferred consistency, which for a sky normally is a puddle pour. And I actually keep my paints quite thin. Okay, now I have some house paint mixed up here, which is just vinyl silk emulsion with my normal pourer medium with a tiny bit of titanium white. I might use that to see if I can get any effects, we'll see. So I have my blue, I have my black, I have my orange. Now, I'm just looking at the picture that I've got on my screen, and I'm going to mix up a pale blue. So I'm literally going to do this very, very gradually, because sometimes you can go too far. Now that would be a great, oh it's very hot, that would be a great pale blue for a hot summer's day. They're not. When I took this picture, it was literally blowing a gale. So I'm going to go in with some black. Now black is very, very powerful. So we're going for more of a bluey grey. That's pretty good for the just above the horizon line. I might just add a little bit more blue. I think that's pretty good. Okay, leave that. That's my first one. My second one, I'm going to take the darkest cloud colour. So I'm going to start off with some pale blue again. Actually, that's pretty good for the mid-tones. I'm just going to desaturate this with literally one drop. So we have very pale blue, pale grey. Now, putting those two next to each other, I can tell that this needs to be desaturated. Wasn't going to. And this is where it becomes completely intuitive. So those look better now. Now, this is okay for the mid-tones. So now I'm going to make up one that is darker than this. So I'm just literally going to take half, a little bit more black. Now, I don't think this is going to be enough paint, so what I'm going to do is put some blue in there. Now, I have had a tendency to overcomplicate skies in the past, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just sticking to 3 tones. Perhaps I go for one darker. She says. So I'm going to take some of my blue. I want to make sure I've got enough left for what I actually want to do. But I actually need less than half of that, so it's fine. I'm going to put in some black. There we go. So we've got 3 tones of blue black. Now, I'm going to deal with my sea colours. The only one that I'm going to use in its raw form is this beautiful folk art Dragon Flash. I'm not going to do anything with that. These two. Complementary colour to green is red. So I have some red made up here. Now, I'm going to start off with this one here. Actually, I could just as easily as add the orange. So we go with the red. Excuse me. I'll leave that one there for the moment. This one. This is a transparent red actually, which just means that it mixes well. It doesn't change your colour too much. Plays nicely. So I want to marry these together a little bit more. I think if I was to put this with this, there's too much difference. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put a little bit of this in there. Maybe a little bit more. And now a bit more red. Ha. Now they look as if they would sit quite happily next to each other now, with a little bit of a contrast, but not too much of a one. This seems quite dark, so I'm going to add all of this. I'm going to lighten it up with some of this. So there we go. We have our sea colours. I don't intend to use very much of this actually. Let's tackle the sand colours now. So I'm going to take, I'm actually going to start off with the yellow ochre itself. And I'm going to add some violet oxide. Start off with a few drops. This is an opaque paint. Oh, that's quite nice actually. A little bit more. That's quite nice actually because it hasn't desaturated it too much. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that and I'm going to mix it with some gold. Gold has a tendency to sink. And mixing yellow and gold together, hopefully you'll get a happy medium. I don't want a lot of difference in my colours in the sand. Now sometimes I will be here for quite a while, just really playing around with what I'm doing. I'll add a bit more gold to that. So I've gone a little bit too wild with this. I added in some sanguine just to see what it will do, but it's far too pinky. So I'm going to add some white. Now the opposite to pinkiness is green, and that's good because I have a little bit of green here. Let's add this one that I can add. To pull it back. You're constantly pushing and pulling till you get exactly what you want. I'm going to go a bit more actually. So I'm thinking about desaturating this as well, but I think it'd be nice. No, I'm going to do it. This is why I don't often film this. I don't, because it is so intuitive and I go in with my gut and always looking at the reference picture. There's a big contrast between these two. Okay, that's better. So I hope you can see what I've done. It's very intuitive. I'm looking at the reference picture, I'm looking at my paints, don't need the black. And basically, I've worked hard at making each set of colours flow from one to another, so they're harmonious. There's not a big jump in there's a jump in tonal value, but there's not a big jump in hue, in the difference of the hues. And that way in a painting, when you're doing whatever technique you do, you're not going to get one colour that really sticks out like a sore thumb. Hello, it's a few days later. Look at the mess in my studio. Now, I'm letting you in behind the scenes because this video, well, let's face it, it was quite long and laborious. But, as I said, I don't often film this side of things. And I actually had somebody in on Saturday, and it was a beginner in fluid art, and she actually said she didn't realise how long things took to prepare. And it's easy to skip steps because you don't really see that side of things on YouTube. And you know, it's really important. Here, I'm just showing you around while I waffle away. My little path from my studio, my little decking area. Just planted all those plants. Hopefully next summer all the grasses will have shot up. We've got apple tree, pear tree, cherry tree, which hopefully going to fill that area up there. Little tour, little treat behind the scenes. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, prep. I don't film it because it takes a long time. So hopefully this is giving you a little bit of an insight as to what it takes. And here we have the painting, which I was going to include as part of the video, but today is Thursday. Video is due to be released on Sunday. This isn't dry enough to take the tape off to complete the base. So this will be next week's video. And you can see the sky is nothing like the picture, but when is it ever? Because you work with what you're given at the time. And my paints were very bubbly, you can see there, because I'd mixed them all up and used them straight away. But I'm quite pleased with it. And don't forget, this is just a test for a big piece. I'm pleased with the colours so far. So tune in next week and you can see me create this painting. Thank you so much for watching. And I really hope you found this useful, helpful. If you have any questions, just email me. Yeah, bye.